Hey, and welcome to the Quality Coding Stream. My name is John Reed. I am a trainer and coach with Industrial Logic, where we help companies around the world. And I don't know if, well, it looks like a couple of people are here. Hey, Mudshark, welcome. And whoever else is lurking, also welcome. Um, yeah, you get an extra bonus because I'm not working today. So otherwise, otherwise I'd be doing this every day. I get the day off for U.S. Thanksgiving holiday. Thanksgiving, complicated holiday, but there it is. I'm taking the work off, and I am thankful. I'm thankful. This what to talk about? Oh, you may notice a change in my social links. I said last time that I was on Mastodon, but I didn't really give a good way for you to see where. And it's not as easy because handles names aren't unique on Mastodon. You have to say the server name and your name. So there you go. Because honestly, Twitter is becoming, well, the signal to noise ratio is getting worse, and a lot of interesting people are shifting over. The conversations are shifting over. Right now, I'm not planning to leave Twitter, but you may see that I have decreased my posting, my tweets. Come over to Mastodon. I'm still not super active there necessarily, but it's quieter. Oh, it's so peaceful. At least for now, and at least for me. I acknowledge that this isn't true for everyone, that there is still harassment. There are still, finding the right server can be tricky for people, especially people from communities that are under attack. You'll want to check, if you're going to Mastodon, you'll want to check really do some research into which instance you want to use. What are their moderation policies? Do they have active moderation? Are they, because it's all, run by people, so not a giant company. And some places will be better than others, and some places will be definitely worse than others. So check that out. Anyway, this home is working well for me. I may move at some point. That's not a worry. Now, and if I move, here's a way to keep in touch with me. I made one of these, inspired by Paul Hudson. This is like a whole bunch of links of me, including Twitter at the very bottom now. So that's just so you can find me. Hey, other folks have joined. Welcome. Say hello in the chat. Another thing I want to mention, it is Friday. It is the Friday after Thanksgiving. Traditionally, are there shopping traditions? I guess there are. I mean, it's part of the culture. It's certainly not part of any. Well, it is part of spirituality, and just maybe in a negative way. It's not part of my spirituality, but it is part of the culture to shop on Black Friday. And so I should mention that I am also involved with some sales on my end, on the selling end. Just be upfront that Industrial Logic has some deals going right now. Buy one, get one free on workshops. So like if you come to my iOS workshop, industrial iOS development, you can bring a friend. You can bring a coworker. Your company will like that. E-learning is half off. So Black Week, it used to be that shopping was all very isolated. And remember Cyber Monday? Um, Now it's just open all the time. Everyone wants you to buy. But anyway, here's my quick sales pitch on my workshop. My book's on sale too. Krendev, hey, first time chat, welcome. Good to have you, and greetings to Denmark. We were working on, I started last time on the Gilded Rose, and it got to be a little bit of a mess. I figured out some things that were wrong and some things that are a little funny. Oh, no, I don't want to leave UI feedback. And let's back up for those who are watching after the fact. Oh, I should say this at the beginning too. If you're watching this on YouTube or on Twitch after the fact, when it's no longer live, do consider giving this a like and subscribing and whatever. Krendev, I've been following you for a while and I'm currently reading your book. Woo! The first time I managed to catch you live. Yay! Glad you're here. That's great. Oh, you can see in my, I've rearranged my my links on the bottom too to highlight my Mastodon account. So just a reminder. Gilded Rose. The Gilded Rose, let me back up, is a code kata for nasty bit of legacy code. I learned some funny things about this. There's some weird things in here. Like, what the heck is this band? Takfal 80, etc. Tafkal. I can't even say it. Tafkal 80, etc. Sulfurus, the Hand of Ragnaros. And that is I believe, a legendary. What was it? What was it? If we let me bring up the Gilded Rose. Oh, let's go to Emily. Emily's always the place to start. But her README links to something. Yes. Sulfurus is a legendary item. It's like, what the heck is a legendary item? And then we have conjured items. What is this Gilded Rose? The Gilded Rose Inn. Well, it turns out it's from World of Warcraft. Want to see it? There it is. And that's why there are weird things in there. And that's why, indeed, there's some reference to Leroy Jenkins, and why there are legendary items and so forth. So our task is to add a feature, a conjured item. There's no way I want to do that in this code. This code is a mess. And we started last time with writing tests. Here's a test of, let me back up. Let me back up, because a lot of this got kind of messed up by my introduction of approval tests, or really trying to get to combination testing. So let me go back here, I think. Let's reset back to here. And I also want to, let's see, verify all combination. Let's see if this works. Whoop. Okay, it passed. I didn't think I made any changes. Okay. What I changed is I am turning on TCR, test and commit or revert, but I'm excluding some files so that it doesn't revert the tests if they fail, and it doesn't approve any approved artifacts. It doesn't revert any approved artifacts if there's a failure, because that makes approval testing easier. I have it set to open a commit dialog. So since the test passed, let's go back here, and maybe I should start back even one more. Sorry about this. This is a little chaotic, a little messy. And hello, Lego Logic 16. Welcome, first-time chatter. Did you meet Steve Jobs in real life? No, thank God. I did see him. He would be, I guess the closest I saw him was at Cafe Max, the Apple, what was then the Apple cafeteria, and he was a couple tables away from me having lunch with somebody, Johnny Ive? Anyway, no, I'm glad I did not interact with him. I did work at Apple. Okay, let's back up. This might not be far enough back. Why am I glad I didn't interact with him? Because the world has enough of, well, I don't know. Maybe there was always a legend, and you can see this today in real life with somebody else, that if you were in an elevator with Steve Jobs, he would ask you, "What do you do here?" And by the end of the ride, either like you would get a thumbs up or you would be fired. He was a dick. And I want psychological safety in my workplaces. Let's go back to our tests and let's see if I can't straighten this out just a bit. No. Here we go. Extract bars. Let me try going back here. That's didn't work. Okay. Here. I've got an idea. Hang on. I'm sorry about this. A bit underprepared. Let's go into the Gilded Rose Swift. Into the tests and just grab this. So Steve Jobs was one of the earliest, well, not earliest, in our lifetimes, one of the most famous examples of somebody who was applauded for being a genius, but was somebody you wanted to stay away from if you wanted to protect your career. Can you think of anybody else like that? Let me try to rescue test foo, and because I want to get back to where we started so that I can do a better job of this. All right, so this will fail. Test foo is going to make a foo item and then update the quality, and there. We have the failure. Foo is not equal to fix me. The easiest way to do this with a characterization test is to just paste in the actual result. There we go. Let's get rid of that. That's an approval I don't need. Right? Commit that. Okay, so what I'm doing is trying to get this under test before we add anything, and just throwing something in foo to see what we get back. Because by definition, the current behavior is what we want to preserve. We don't want to change anything in the current behavior when refactoring. We don't even want to fix anything. So this checks the name. That's not enough, though. If we can check more than the name, that would be nice. So let me break this one more time. And instead of asserting against the name, I'm going to get that first item. Whoops. What did I do wrong? Let me get the description. There we go. Okay. So there is the description, which has the name, the sell in so many days, and the quality of the item. And the quality changes every day. So now that I've pasted it in, this should pass, and it'll ask me to commit. This is a test-only change. Test more of foo. Okay. This I don't need yet. Hang on a second. Let's clean up some stuff. Delete a helper I don't need yet. So that's foo. We can test Aged Brie, test Sulphurous Hand of Ragnaros, test a Backstage Pass with one sell in 1 day or sell in 10 days. And all these things have different results. And trying to write these tests to cover all this it's slow and painful. If we look at this, let's see, I've got how many tests now? 5 tests. Let me just get this with code coverage so we can see what it looks like. And then I'll do it again with approvals, and then I'll do it again with combinations, and I'll get it right this time. So you can see in terms of code coverage, here shown in green and yellow and red, there are some things that are covering now, a fair bit. So you could keep going by hand. However, this won't protect against other things. Remember, code coverage is a lie. Red is true. Red means your test is not going through there. Green does not mean the code is covered. It just means the code went through there. For example, let me break something. If the quality is less than 50, okay, let's change this to less than or equal to 50. That's a break. Oop, but it took it. The test passed, and that's not good. That is not good. Yellow, I think, means it's not, I'm not sure. I It must mean that it went, I don't know. Good question. If we looked at it in Xcode, it probably shows something different in terms of what's covered. And unfortunately, in Swift, with the tools we have from Apple, everything has been oriented around line coverage and not about uh, complex conditionals. Like if there are any ands in here, I don't know if there are any ands. There don't appear to be any ands. Oh, well, here's an and. It's just disguised as a comma. That you want to see if, part of a conditional is covered. Is the other part of the conditional covered? It doesn't show us well. All we get is line coverage. It's not as good. So let's now switch to approvals. Let me hide this coverage stuff. And what we can do with approvals is say, instead of assert equal all this stuff and have to paste this in, I'm going to say try approvals verify, and we'll verify that thing. Right? So it looks very much like that. I'm just going to add this in. Now, I ran into trouble with this last time. And the reason is, thank you, Mutchuck. The reason is that approval tests walk through to see what tools you have. And like if you're using app code, it's like, oh, let me show you any differences in app code. Otherwise, I'll go on to the next tool. And I'm not using normal app code right now. I'm using the EAP, the pre-release. So if I run this, it's going to look a little funny. Whoop! It popped up it launched app code. That's not what I want. And you can see the results here. What I would like is for it to use the beta. So I'm going to hack my local copy, even though you probably shouldn't do this, but let's do this. I'm going to go into the Swift package download of approval tests, approval test.swift into the reporters. And is it generic various reporters? And it is looking for user local bin app code. Let me just go to user local bin. I have two. And this is also a change from how I'm used to working with app code. In the past, I would download app code, and to get the command line tool for app code, I'd had to go into here, into the tools directory, and do something and say, create the command line command line tool. That is not how it works if you are using the JetBrains toolbox. The toolbox, I learned, is a great way to manage all of JetBrains IDEs and tools and whatever you need. Especially if you have any sort of subscription or you have a company subscription. These are the tools I use. You can see here's AppCode, Android Studio, IntelliJ, Gateway to do some remote execution stuff. Like these are the tools I use. And here's the EAP. Here's some others that are available that I don't need. And it has an option. You go into settings. Where is it? Here we go. It has a thing to set up the shell script name, the command line tool, and the location of where it goes. And so trying to manage that manually, I was fighting with this tool. So let me instead hack this, my local copy, and say, yes, I want to edit this, just this file, please. Clear the read-only status. There. I want it to run app code 1, which is the EAP. Now let's see what this looks like. Remember, this is the test result. But if I run it now, you can see it is showing me the same thing. Foo degrades to, or the cell in goes to -1, I guess, and the quality is 0, something like that. I don't know. I don't need to know. All I need to do is approve it by saying, yes, I'll take that, save it, and run the tests again. And they pass. So now I can get rid of that assertion. It has created a new file, which I need to check in. That is the approval file. So this is use approvals for test foo. All right. So that will commit checks failed. Wait a second. Hang on a second. There. That was the TCR plugin warning me about, like, you shouldn't commit through me. No, I should always commit through TCR, but if I need to get work around it anyway. By the way, any other questions? And if you want to chat among yourselves, go for it. That's fine. If you got any other random questions for me that have nothing to do with what I'm doing, that's fine too. I'm just happy that you're here. Okay, so that is an easier way to manage approvals. Let me get rid of this. Now, let's do a thing. Let me extract this as a variable to make it easier. This is a step I didn't take last time. This is going to be like the result. This will still pass, of course. That is an automated refactor. Because what I want for combinations, I want to just like throw a whole, make this super parameterized and throw a bunch of things at it. But first, let's start with the same inputs that we had before. Foo, cell in 0, quality 0. Let's see if I can't do this right. So, is everyone here using AppCode? I'm mostly using AppCode, but revert to Xcode for some tasks. Would love to ditch Xcode altogether, but it seems impossible for now. I use Xcode on occasion. There are some things that are just easier in Xcode. Project settings are easier for me. Swift UI is easier if you use previews. There's a way to do get something like previews without using previews. If you do Swift UI, I don't know what CranDev. What else do you use Xcode for? But Sea Lion, yeah, for cross-platform stuff. Hey, good to see you, Uli Witness. Oh yeah, all that kind of Apple fiddly stuff. Xcode. That's just the way to go. I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, let us extract the inputs. So this is going to be name. This is going to be cell in. I don't want to replace all the zeros, just that 1 0. Quality, again, this should pass. This is more extract vars. Although, really, it's test-only change. I could go back and amend the other one, but who cares? So what I've done here is I've separated things out. You can see these are the inputs, foo00. This is sort of the process of creating an item, passing it into the Gilded Rose, asking the Gilded Rose to update quality at the end of the day, and then getting the description back from it. So this is what I want to extract into a helper. Let's see if I got this right. Right? It should return a string and should take these things. So this is update. Hey, that's my first time to see this new thingy. Oh, that's exciting. Hey, welcome. Thank you for the follow. IXAVY, com. Ixavi. Could you hear this sound too? Hopefully it didn't play back. Anyway, I saw that on somebody else's thing, and I'm like, how do you do that? So that's fun. Yay. Update quality. Let's see if this will work. So this is our little helper. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the follow and in your first chat. We've got a few more folks here. Oh, that didn't work. My shortcut didn't work. Oops. Hopefully it'll sort itself out. Say hello, and oh, you've said hello. Where in the world are you? It's always fun to learn where people are. So this is extract a helper. To update quality. So far, no changes, right? This is where the fun begins. It's taking inputs. It is verifying the output. What I would like to do now is change these to be change this to a combination approval, where we verify all combinations of update quality. And this can be, it's just, here, I'll show you. It's just a closure. So we can pass in a function. That's an easy way. That's not the only way, obviously. You could create a closure in here. And let's do the params. Name, cell in, and quality. I'm going to get rid of these. But this won't build. If I try to build this, you'll see a complaint that it is expecting not a single string, but an array of strings. And that's because it wants to do combinations. So let's change these. To arrays. and watch what happens. Now I am going to run the tests, and here's the diff. And isn't it nicer to see the diff right in the tool? It's faster too. The only difference is, and this threw me off last time, it is showing the inputs and how it transforms into the output. So you can see the output is the same. The input is just foo00 like we have there. So let's approve this. And this will now pass. And it checks in the approval. Right, so this is a shift. This is one of many. One of many is a great pattern to try to move from a single thing or single inputs into a bunch of things. You first stick with the single thing, but make it an array of that one thing. This is a pattern called one of many. So now we can do other things like, what about aged brie? So is that diff a script you're using, or is that a new thing in AppCode EAP? This is actually a feature of approval tests. And if you are not using AppCode, so it's not a new feature. Let's go to approval tests. Approvaltests.com, where you can find stuff in various languages. Here's the Swift one. And it will show you a diff in whatever tool it can find. What tool does it use? Let's see. It's got a list somewhere. I am trying to remember. It's been a while. Oh, let me look in docs. Reporters. All right, here we go. So this is the list that it goes down. It looks for this tool called Beyond Compare. If it can't find that, then it'll look for AppCode. If it can't find that, then it'll look for diff merge. If it can't find that, then it'll use Kaleidoscope, and so on and so on and so on. Until finally, if there's nothing left, then it'll just spit it out as an exe test failure with a helpful thing to say, if you do want to approve it, copy this copy command and just paste it into your terminal. So that is, right now it's popping up in here. So let us take aged brie and add it as another name. Now watch what happens. Oh, now we get two inputs. Interesting. In fact, let me approve this and rerun. See, now that gets rid of this aged brie test. In fact, let's go bonkers and add in the others. All right. So here we go. Sulfurus, the Hand of Ragnaros, and Backstage Passes. So those are going to be the names. And I'm going to run tests. It will fail. And let me see. Here are the inputs and the outputs. Like that. Great. So I'll prove it. Rerun the test. They will pass. More names. Now the fun begins. Because that will take care of, like that goes away. But we have different things around sell-in. What's the sell-in? What's the quality? And rather than try to be super smart about it, I think it is, I really like not being smart. I like being, trying to find the boundary and saying, well, what do we do? For example, okay, here's Agebree, here's backstage passes, we got those inputs. Quality, here's a boundary. Have you all read about TDD by Zombies? TDD but Guided by Zombies, James Grenning. Zombies is 0, 1, many, boundaries, interfaces, exceptions, and really go for like anything that's just simple. So if we focus on boundaries, here's a boundary. Quality greater than 0. So we want quality of 0. We want quality greater than 0. So I'm going to suggest that we want quality here to be 0. How about less than 0? How about greater than 0? Maybe I'll put these in order. Like that. It's right around that boundary, and I want to capture that things, what falls on what side. Let's go to another one. Quality greater than 0. Quality less than 50. Okay. So let's get, we want 50. We want 49, which is less than 50. That seems like a good thing. Sell-in less than 11. Okay. So 11 and less than 11. Here's sell-in less than 6. So we want 6. We want less than 6. Is there anything else? Sell-in less than 0. Do I have that? Ooh. No, let's put that in. Sell-in less than 0. Quality greater than 0. Pretty sure we have that. Quality less than 50. Okay. So now, with these parameters, let me rerun the combination tests. And that will, I'm just going to wipe these out. I don't need these anymore. Woohoo! Now, in just a few minutes, I've written 120 use cases. Is there, are there things in here that are unnecessary? Absolutely. Do I care? No. I'm going to copy this whole side, paste it over on that side, save and rerun, and that's how fast it is. I don't care that there may be combinations in here that are pointless. This is lots of combinations. And now let's rerun coverage. Actually, yeah. Let me rerun with coverage so that we can see what it looks like. There it's all green, but can we believe it? Can we believe it? This is just because you're green, again, it could be a lie. But what if I change this to greater than or equal to 0? All right, make some common mistakes. I expect this to revert. Good. It reverted. Right, less than or equal to 50. Again, it fails because the 50 input is not matching up. I think quality is supposed to max out at 50 or something like that. So I'm feeling pretty positive about this, about the coverage here. That fails and it reverts. So this is one of the things that I've been working on that I want to show off. You're seeing this first. I'd love to do this as a conference talk. It would have to be cleaned up quite a bit. But to show folks how approval tests can be super helpful when you're dealing with a legacy code, a bunch of untested stuff, and you need to add a feature to it. So you don't want to break anything. And like I said, approvals are available in many languages. You should be able to find yours here. Some of these aren't, like, I don't think the Objective-C one is up to date, really. But hey, maybe it's fine. I just haven't used it. What the heck is this? I'll click on it and find out. Go. Go. Oh, it's a gopher. I see. So, approvals and the artifacts that it checks in are easy to see. Yeah, I don't think Objective-C has a logo. You know, it's old. Yeah, exactly. Someone made one up. If we look not in the project view, but in the files view, you can see where here's the test and here is test foo. Foo is not a good name anymore. Let me rename this. This is ignored, so it's not necessary. But it's not really test foo. It's really test. Let me do a rename here. And to rename this, I'm going to simply just call it test. That's good enough. But also, I don't want to copy it. How do I do it? Shift F6. I'll get rid of foo from the approved artifact as well. And this should pass. Good. Isn't it glorious? All these test cases. Whee! So now we can start refactoring, and we can refactor the crap out of this. That's certainly going to spill into tomorrow. Oh, I am going to keep streaming tomorrow, of course. But we can get started today or call it a day. I don't know. Yeah, you can't use O'Reilly things. All-nighter. No, I like to keep my my streams to an hour-ish. But let's look at what is the task. The task at hand. Now go into the original description. And up, we recently signed a supplier of conjured items. Conjured items degrade in quality twice as fast as normal items. It's like, great. And here are the actual requirements written out. It gets really, really complicated. So you want to add a conjured item. So the temptation with legacy code so often, and this is part of what got me into all of this to begin with, is that you're afraid to touch the code because you don't want to break anything, right? So you'd start off in saying, let's see, if it's a conjured item, yeah, jam it in there. That's 24-nighter, 24-hour all-nighter. Yeah, if we were to jam it in here, it'd be like, okay, if items I name equals conjured, then do something else. And I'd have to like get the quality, make sure that it degrades twice as fast. Items. I don't like repeating items I all over the place. What the heck is with this? Say items quality. Here normally degrades by 1. It should degrade by twice that. Something like that. I don't even know if this is correct. All I know is that I don't want to change this. And what happens then? When the next type of thing comes along, well, you end up with another if statement, and that's how you end up with code like this. This is convoluted, but it's not unrealistic. When I started my when I moved to Silicon Valley, I went to work originally for Claris, which was Apple's software company. And then Steve Jobs came back, and he was basically the first person to lay me off. No, I'm not resentful. Honestly, I'm not. Yes, Claris, HyperCard. They had a lot of good products. But we got the word we used was we got Steved. He shut down Claris, and I moved to Adobe and worked at Adobe on a piece of code that was supposed to be a cross-platform UI library for Adobe products. That is, it wasn't an external library. It was a library for Adobe developers, for example, Photoshop. And Photoshop could then write to this UI abstraction, and you get both Mac and Windows out of it. There was code like this. There were parts that were bad, and there were parts that we were scared to touch. And yeah, that's exactly what happened to Claris. They kept FileMaker and as the one product, and just recently renamed FileMaker Inc. back to Claris for some reason. Like only in the last month or so. Weird. So there was code like this that we were scared to touch, especially around this one piece that was the controller. You can imagine anything that was like tracking mouse moves, and we had to do this cross-platform. It had to work on Mac and Windows, and there were all these exceptions. I actually worked on ClarisWorks J, the Japan version. That was my first sort of big job out in the real world. Yeah. HyperCard was so cool. There was code like this. Every bit of exception, every if statement, every little thing piling up, bugs. It was so easy to break. None of us wanted to touch it. And as you can imagine, this meant that the code became worse and worse, and our productivity got worse and worse. And finally, it got to the point where like we get feature requests from Photoshop to say, will you make this change? And we would say, we finally had enough. And we said, no, it's going to take long. Like you don't understand how complicated and scary this code is. We can't accommodate your request. Well, you don't say that to Photoshop, it turns out. And before long, we were all fired. But that was where I learned to appreciate horrible legacy code that didn't have microtests. And that is why we are here. That's my sort of origin story of how I got into technical agile practices and design patterns and code quality and extreme programming. All these things came about. So end of story time. Next time, we will continue. We're going to clean this code up, and that will be tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. Thanks for coming by, and come again tomorrow, right? It'll be fun. That's all I got for you today. If you're watching this after the fact, on YouTube or Twitch, give it a whatever. Poke your browser until it says you like or you subscribe or you follow or whatever, or you hit the bell, or just start clicking randomly on your screen until good things happen. All right. That's all I got. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow.